Hi, let's continue with lesson 7.4. Lesson 7.4 is all about graphing linear inequalities and finding the solutions to the linear inequality from the graph. So we're going to graph linear inequalities and we're going to find the solutions to the linear inequality from that graph that we drew. Alright, so there are some prerequisite skills I needed prerequisite skills to do well in this. So the one that we need to know is how to graph a linear equation. I need to know how to graph my linear equation to do well in this. So we're going to look at how to graph a linear equation. My linear equations, there are three different forms, right? We know one is the standard form, the slope-intercept form, and the point-slope form. So your equation can be given in any one of these forms, but we're going to focus only on these two, a standard form or a slope-intercept form. The standard form is of the type ax plus by equal to c. The slope-intercept form is of the form y equal to mx plus b. So if my equation looks like this, it's a standard form. If it looks like this, it's written in slope-intercept form. The point-slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're not going to be seeing this a lot, but we will be seeing these two a lot. So I need to know how to graph these two functions, these two equations. So if my linear function or linear equation is in the standard form, if it's in the standard form, how do I graph it? How to graph? There are two ways I can do it. One, I can find the x and y intercepts. I can find the x and y intercepts using that equation and plot those x and y intercepts and get my line. Remember, I need only 2 points to draw my line. So the 2 points that we are going to find is the x-intercept and the y-intercept. So I could do that, or I could change or rewrite standard form to slope-intercept form. Standard form to slope-intercept form, and then graph using slope and intercept, y-intercept. Alright, so if I start with my standard form, I could achieve both. I need to know how to graph my standard form and slope-intercept form, right? So we're going to take one equation which is in standard form. We are going to graph it using intercepts first, and we are also going to use the same equation to rewrite it into slope-intercept form and graph it using slope and y-intercept. Alright, so we're going to do it both ways. When we do it both ways, we achieve a third goal, which is graphing by slope-intercept form. Alright, so let's go ahead and take an example of an equation that is written in standard form. So my equation is 3x plus 5y equal to 15. This equation is a neat equation. I could easily figure out my x and y intercept because numbers divide evenly. What I mean by that, so the first method is by using intercepts. I'm going to find my intercepts and use those to graph my line. So the first intercept is my x-intercept. The concept of x-intercept is a point x comma 0 because that's a point on my x-axis. So my y coordinate for all the points on my x-axis is going to be 0. So I want to find the point where the line intersects your x-axis. At that time, your value of y will be 0. So if I input y as 0 in my equation and figure out what x is at that time, it will give me my x-intercept. You guys know this already. So I'm finding my x-intercept. So 3x, I'm inputting y as 0 equal to 15. So this whole thing becomes 0. Now I have 3x equal to 15. So x equal to 5. So my x-intercept is 5, 0. That's one point. I'm going to figure out my y-intercept next. My y-intercept is the point 0, y. This is a point on the y-axis where the line cuts the y-axis. So on the y-axis, any point if I take, my x value will be 0 in that coordinate. So I'm going to use the same equation. This time I'm going to input x as 0. So I have 3 times 0 plus 5y equal to 15. So this whole thing becomes 0. It goes away. So I have 5y equal to 15, or y is equal to 3. So my equation is, my y-intercept is 0, 3. Now I have 2 points, 5, 0 and 0, 3 that belongs to this equation. So I can put those 2 points on my graph and get my line. So let's graph it. Please pay attention. You need to graph it. When you're graphing, please remember you need to label your graph properly. You need to show me your x and y axis. You need to show me your numbers on the x and y axis. So please, if you start with a 0, it'll avoid a lot of confusion. The numbers should be evenly spaced. Put the numbers on the line instead of in the middle of the box. So you have that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the negative side of the graph. -4. That's the negative side of the y. So I have my axis all set up. Now I want to put my x and y intercept. My x-intercept was 5, 0. My y-intercept was 0, 3. I got my 2 points. I'm going to draw my graph. Use a ruler or any straight edge to draw your line. Later in module 9, we're going to be graphing a lot. Your graph has to be accurate for you to get the correct answers. So I got my line. So I graphed my equation using my intercepts. Alright. So let's see. I said there were 2 ways that I could graph my standard form. The first one was by finding the x and y intercepts. So we found the x and y intercept. We graphed our line. So that's one way to do it. Another way is I can rewrite my standard form to slope-intercept form and then graph using the slope and the y-intercept. I have my equation. So how do I rewrite my standard form to slope-intercept form? So let's see how to rewrite standard form to slope-intercept form. Okay, so let's take the same equation. 3x plus 5y equal to 15. So I have my standard form. I want to rewrite this equation as y equal to mx plus b. Alright, so I have the x term. I want to bring it over, and I want to get the y all by itself. So I want to make it look like this. So I have my 3x plus 5y equal to 15. I want to move the x away from y, so I'm going to move the whole thing, minus 3x. So this is gone. So I have 5y equal to, see, I want to have the mx up front, so I'm having that mx right there. I want to keep it up front, so this will be minus 3x plus 15. Now I want to divide everybody by 5. Everybody gets divided by 5. So 5y divided by 5 gives you y equal to, that's negative 3 over 5x plus 3. So I got my slope-intercept form. This thing is my slope, negative 3 over 5, and that's my y-intercept. So how am I going to graph my line using x and y-intercept, my slope and my y-intercept? So I'm going to start the same way. I'm going to make my axis. Please use a straight edge. It's 11 o'clock right now. I can't think. Alright, so you have this. I want to mark my x and y. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, negative 1, negative 1. Very important to label your graph. So the first thing the equation I'm graphing is y equal to negative 3 over 5x plus 3. So the first point I want to put, I know y-intercept is a point. So that is my y-intercept. So I want to put that point on my graph. That's 0, 3. And now I look at my slope. My slope is rise over run, which is negative 3 over 5. So my rise is negative 3 and the run is positive 5. So I'm going to, from this point, I'm going to rise 3. 1, 2, 3. Since it's a negative 3, I'm rising in the negative direction. So 1, 2, 3. And my run is positive 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got my second point. So I used my slope. Rise, it's negative 3. Run is positive 5. I got my second point. I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to use a straight edge and I'm going to draw my line. As you can see, since this is the equation that I rewrote from my standard form, as you can see, both graphs are one and the same. Yeah, so it doesn't matter which one you use to graph your line, whether you use the slope-intercept form, use the slope and the y-intercept and graph your line, or from the standard form, if you figure out your x and y-intercept and graph it, you'll still get the same graph. So please practice this. Take a couple of equations from your textbook. You will have many in your linear equations, module 6. Take a couple of equations and try graphing them and be familiar with this skill. Okay, so it will help you a lot when we learn lesson 7.4. So be ready. Thank you.